Hello guys and welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 21st of May 2021. My name is LSP obviously, and I am part of the DAO trading squad for Swissborg. We basically cycle through all of the available tokens and coins that are on the Wealth app. And there's 5 of us, and we do analysis. We kind of cycle through each week on Fridays. We post that analysis on the Swissborg Discord, so I highly recommend that you jump over there. All of the analysis is put together in slides, so it's all available in one place. 2 of us, myself and CryptoPoint FR, myself in English and CryptoPoint, he does it in French, do our respective analyses in videos, and then they are posted on their respective channels. So there's a lot of analysis that goes out, by experienced investors, and it's very important, obviously, to make sure that you are sticking to your plan. What we post is for educational purposes only, and we do our best to throw a lot of education in there as well, especially through video format. I think it's a little bit easier to be able to to post. Through when you're talking, you can kind of point things out and throw in some education there as well. So there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of analysis that's done, and if you enjoy this analysis, obviously give the video a thumbs up, share with your friends, and get everybody over to Swissborg. It's a great company. So with BNB, so this week my 2 tokens are going to be Binance and ENJ. So I'm going to go through this analysis. Now this analysis has already been done, it's already been written up by myself, and that will be posted again in the slides, but I do the video, so I'm going to kind of go through that analysis for those of you who've already read the analysis, and I'm going to kind of point out some other things. So when you're doing the analysis in type form, I try not to put too much in there because it can be quite exhausting reading through paragraphs and paragraphs of analysis. I like to save it for the video, or save some parts for the video, because it's so much easier for me to point out. So what I was saying in the analysis, okay, if we go back over to the weekly chart, and I like to stick to the weekly and the daily charts for my analysis, because we're generally looking at the market from a broader perspective, from a longer time frame. This is not trading. We're not looking to kind of jump in and out of these currencies or these tokens and coins, in a day or half a day or anything silly like that. We're talking about investing and creating wealth over longer periods of time. So the weekly chart and the daily chart, they complement that style of investing very, very well. Okay, and because a lot of these coins have not been around long enough for the monthly chart to even matter, I kind of just avoid the monthly chart, because as I've said many times in many of the videos that I've done, it's just a vertical line pretty much on everything, and you can't really do anything with that. Okay, so we start with the weekly, and you'll notice I was saying in the analysis that there's a very large liquidity pool down here. Okay, and price, with what happened this week with that pretty aggressive sell-off across the market, really, it wasn't specific to any token or coin. It was pretty much market wide. Okay, there was only a few coins or tokens that kind of weathered the storm, but pretty much everything took a beating, which is actually a good thing, because that means it is market wide, and we will start to see recoveries across the board. It's not just 1 or 2 specific tokens or coins that took a massive pounding, which is quite worrying, if you're holding those, but because it was market wide, that gives me a lot of confidence, because everything was affected, in a nutshell. So we have this big large liquidity pool down here, and obviously this huge sell-off has gone straight into this, and it's absorbed around about 15% of that liquidity. Now what that means is there is still remaining liquidity down here. So if price wants to continue going lower to accumulate more buy liquidity, then it can, and still maintain this level. So effectively what that means is, if you are looking at a situation like this and you can see that price is coming towards a liquidity pool, in this particular case, because it's a weekly liquidity pool, it's so large, it's huge. You're talking around about 185 all the way up to around about 295. That's a large range. Price can bounce around in this range and accumulate, and it won't matter. It's not going to go any lower until it gets through this range. Now, to get through this range, it has to absorb all of the liquidity, okay, and then start to eat into some of these imbalances down here. I'm not expecting that, but what this means is, going forward, it creates a very crappy situation where you have to just kind of wait while price grinds, and consolidates through this range. And because we had capitulation where basically all of the liquidity, price is reaching very, very fast, to find liquidity to, facilitate trade, to pair orders and all that sort of thing. It effectively found it here at this liquidity pool, and it used whatever it needed to use, and then it stopped. Okay, so this level above that I've noted is just a level that we need to effectively get through this to start to grind higher and go for all-time highs. This is a very long way away, but I'm making a note of it now so we're aware of it going forward. Go over to the daily chart and we can flesh things out a little bit more. This upper level is irrelevant for us, so we just kind of ignore it for now. But if price continues to go lower, okay, and starts to absorb a little bit more into this liquidity pool, then the daily area of liquidity is where I would expect price to stop and find some price sensitivity there, meaning it's going to drop there. And if it gets into this area down here around about 225 to 260-ish, and I'm not expecting the full range to be traded to, but basically for the larger weekly range to be traded all the way through, it has to get through this first. So if this holds, we may start to grind higher. I am not expecting much more downside or much more upside. I'm expecting, to be honest, a lot of this, as I'm doing with my mouse now. This up and down crap going sideways. And I think we're going to see a lot of that across the board, to be honest, with all currencies, with all cryptocurrencies, with all tokens and so on. Unless there's something specific that's really ripping, I'm expecting this, because it needs to work off this huge sell-off. People are a little bit antsy now. They're not sure whether they want to be jumping in and out of things. And remember, there are a lot of traders around the world that trade cryptocurrencies in and out. So the investors won't really care. This is just noise. But the traders, they do care. And obviously, we will see intraday volatility coming in and out of these pairs. And Binance is one of the big ones. So we could drop and eat into this a little bit and then kind of bounce a little bit and then kind of drop again and bounce a little bit and effectively just go sideways. So I'm kind of neutral on Binance. I'm not really expecting up or down. I'm just kind of expecting some sideways slop, basically. All right. So let's go over to ENJ or Engine. Okay, and we'll go over to the weekly chart. Not really much to work with on the weekly chart in terms of engine. I did mention this in the type analysis, but there is a level down here, which is the full rebalance level. Okay, now it's very difficult for me to go into what that actually means. Okay, without doing a 6-hour video, 7-hour video. Okay, and explaining the delivery of price and the way everything works. But in a nutshell, what that means is, because there's nothing from effectively the lowest point where we went during the sell-off to this area here, there's no liquidity effectively. There's just imbalances. So price, if it does start to gain some legs to the downside and it hits this level right here, that means that once it hits that level, it doesn't need to do anything else. Just imagine a pair of scales that are tipped to one side, and that side is the sell side right now. If it hits that full rebalance level, okay, which is around about 67, okay, we may slightly go over, slightly, effectively between 69 and 65, okay. That's the full rebalance level, and those scales will effectively just go back to equilibrium, and there'll be nothing left for price to do other than decide, whether it wants to accumulate or accumulate buys, or just pretty much sit there and do nothing, because ENJ is not going to go much lower than that. Okay, and again, very important to remember, this is a market-wide problem. This massive sell-off, it affected everything. Okay, so think of these tokens and these cryptocurrencies effectively going through a giant reset right now. Okay, and that reset effectively allows people, institutions, entities, commercials, whatever you want to call them, big money, okay, to start to accumulate at levels that make sense for them. Okay, and it's a fresh start. Anybody that's jumped into the crypto market this week and he sat down today for the first time looking at all of the currencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance, and so on, will find pretty much the best prices that they're going to find probably in a very, very long time. Yeah, because remember, if price does start to rip to the upside on Engine, for example, because we're doing the analysis on Engine, we would need to go into a completely new range of around about, say, $4 to around about, say, $6, say, and start to see what we're seeing on this weekly chart now, but higher up here. Okay, and then if anybody's new to the crypto market, then for them, these sell-offs will be at discount then, not now. Right now, we're seeing a lot of discounted markets, okay? And I'm not suggesting at all that anybody goes and plows money into anything. That's not my place. Obviously, we're just here to give a technical analysis, go through some education, and so on. But have a think about what I've just said, because there's not, for example, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down, and I'm not doing the analysis on Bitcoin. I'm giving you an example. Bitcoin's around about sort of $37,000 right now. We haven't seen those prices for a very long time. So a lot of people who are new to the crypto space are seeing Bitcoin down at these levels and thinking, you know what, I'm going to put a little bit of money into Bitcoin because that's cheap. Yeah, that's discounted, especially considering where it's been, all-time highs, and where it is now. Okay, so again, have a think about that. Above, obviously, again, pretty much the same as Binance. This is a massive liquidity range. It's going to take a very long time to get through this unless we see something spectacular. Okay, so just bear that in mind. We have it referenced here because it's just something I want to keep an eye on going forward, but don't expect price to come anywhere near this for a while. And when it does, it's going to have the same problem that Binance is having right now, where it's going to have to start to eat into this, and then we will break down these levels, and within each one of these weekly candles there will be more daily liquidity that we have to kind of work through, but we'll get to that if and when the time comes. So going over to the daily. Okay, and I'll just kind of zoom out so we can see everything. Again, this is that liquidity range. We'll leave it for now. Now above, and this is what I was saying in the analysis, the typed analysis, I was saying this is an area of imbalance, okay? And this is the full rebalance down here. If price runs up first, okay, from where it is right now, let's say we have a nice spike and it runs up first, especially if it's fast. Pay attention. If it's fast, if price rips to the upside, okay, and rebalances and picks up sell liquidity here, expect it to run lower and go straight for this. Yeah. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying it's all going to happen within 30 minutes, but as a general rule of thumb, this is what we tend to see with rebalancing, the way that I've just described it. It runs up, especially if it runs up fast, grabs sell liquidity, rebalances, and then starts to rip to the downside and starts to go for a full rebalance, a complete total reset, in quotation marks, of the engine accumulation distribution cycle. Okay, so that's the first scenario. If it starts to bleed lower, yeah, from where it is now without even coming anywhere near this, then that's a completely different scenario, and I would expect a slower, more grindier version of this full rebalance. Now, I don't know if price is going to come down here, but what I do know, as I've been taught through experience in the marketplace for over countless years that I've been doing this, with this type of price behavior and flows, what we're seeing with liquidity flows, I would expect a slow bleed into a full rebalance. Yeah, and if that happens, then price is effectively going to stop here and then start to find its way higher, and that will be a very discounted price for Engine. Okay. And we could, of course, just kind of grind sideways as well. But again, same with pretty much Binance and with a lot of the cryptocurrencies right now. I'm just expecting a lot of sideways slop. And as far as anything going forward, is there anything that we can do with this? As an investor, it's at a discounted price, so act accordingly, I guess. As a trader, not really. If you're looking for volatility, you're pretty much going to get that across the board regardless of whatever you're looking at. So it really doesn't make a difference. All right. So that's the analysis, guys, on Binance and Engine. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, if you're not part of the Swissborg Discord, to get yourself over there. And all the analysis is posted, for all of the tokens in the Wealth app, so you can kind of read through all of that. And again, keep an eye out for CryptoPoint FR's video in French if there's any French-speaking members or any French-speaking viewers that are watching this video. He does some great analysis as well. And that's it, guys. So I hope everyone's having an awesome day, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.